Dear one, believe it or believe it not, there is a Buddhist thought. I don't mean that all Buddhists necessarily follow it, but a belief that you should, among some Buddhists, think of death every day. Now, in a peculiar way, I find them to be right, because, of course, I see death as potentially your entry to the full experience of abundant life, life in heaven, forever. In other words, in some spiritual sense, your graduation. And not the awful judgment that probably a corruption of Judaism might see, and Christianity and so on. But death is in fact a great release. Of course, if you're in severe pain and worry, you may see it as that as well, and that's why people commit suicide. But it's more a desperation than a joyful hope. Now, I see death as gateway to heaven. If we're ready, by ready, I think I mean, according to the Jesus story, trusting in God. To be a heavenly dad, loves us. And therefore death becomes something seen as quite different. Now, from a secular point of view, if you think death is just the end of story, obliteration, nothing from then on, well, it's not a problem. It's neither heaven nor hell. It's just nothing from then on. And so, from a suicide point of view, it becomes rational if you're finding this world just too terrible to live with. And not to be seen as some immortal sin. That perhaps Christianity and some religions have seen it as. Let me pause a sec. To review, I mean. Yes, this strange view of some Buddhists, which is that you should be aware and considering death each day to prepare yourself for it. Well, of course, I find this very peculiarly acceptable because of my view of death as being potential entry to heaven. So it's encouraging me to trust, because I'm seeing it as end of school study for a fullness of life that I feel I've learnt about in the lessons I want to graduate. So yes, it's very important that you think of the goal. The goal is to have life abundant, life eternal, spiritual life, as Jesus in the story seems to have it. Father, I would that they be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory. For thou lovest me from the foundation of the world. That they might have my joy in themselves. That's the John 17 prayer. We are preparing for the next world, not fearfully worried about death. Do you see the difference? It's a big difference. It's a way of joy and peace and assurance, hope unlimited, trust in a heavenly God that loves us. That's what the Jesus story is about. And that's possibly something of why the story ends in a crucifixion. Its climax seems to be an exit. A horrific one, of course, in terms of Roman power and pressure to obey and conform. The complete opposite of the love of God, who doesn't even tell you when you do something wrong, but guides you through a life here that reveals it to you and brings you to want him to exist, brings you to love him with all your heart, soul, mind and strength, brings you to life eternal. Not of this world. They are not of this world. I pray for them. That's the John 17 rendering. You're greatly blessed by knowing it, dear one. I commend it to you. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.